The Galactic Council sat in judgment, a massive assembly of alien species from across the galaxy, each one more advanced and older than the next. They had ruled the stars for millennia, overseeing civilizations rise and fall. Their purpose was singular: maintain the galactic order. Earth, however, had upset that balance. For centuries, the Council had watched with passive curiosity as humanity evolved, but recently that curiosity had turned to concern. Earth, a backwater planet with limited influence, had advanced far too quickly for their liking. The reckless development of AI, experimental weaponry, and their continued thirst for expansion alarmed the Council. What they could not control, they feared. Humanity was no longer just another developing species. In a few short decades, they had harnessed technological power that rivaled even some of the older galactic races. What made Earth more dangerous was the humans' unpredictability, bold, defiant, willing to risk everything for the slimmest chance of victory. The Council viewed them as primitive, emotional, and arrogant, believing their growth was more luck than skill. But luck or not, the threat was real. The Council's decision was swift and decisive: Earth must submit, or be destroyed. A transmission was sent to Earth. Across the planet's cities, a hologram materialized, its cold, mechanical voice reverberating through the atmosphere. The message was simple and absolute. Humanity had grown too bold, too ambitious. Earth must disarm. The planet's leaders were given a short window to respond: surrender all military capabilities and accept the Council's dominance, or face annihilation. The alien fleet loomed over Earth, a symbol of the Council's power, and a promise of what would come should humanity refuse. For a moment, there was silence on Earth. The streets, usually alive with noise, fell quiet as people looked skyward, at the dark silhouettes of ships far above. Panic swept through the media, waves of disbelief cascading across the globe. Was this truly the end? Could Earth possibly resist a force so overwhelming? Leaders scrambled to communicate, their phones and secure lines buzzing with frantic activity. Citizens stared at the horizon, wondering if their world was about to vanish beneath the weight of alien might. The fleet above was like nothing Earth had ever seen. Its scale was incomprehensible. Alien warships, bristling with technology that dwarfed anything humanity could muster, cast long shadows over the planet. The clock was ticking, and the world waited breathlessly for a decision. But in the midst of the chaos, something shifted. It was not fear that took hold of Earth's leaders, it was defiance. In underground bunkers and secure war rooms, the leaders of Earth's nations gathered. This was no time for division. For the first time in history, humanity was truly united. The room buzzed with tense energy, military commanders and scientific advisors discussing, debating, calculating the odds. They all knew the truth: the Galactic Council had them outgunned, outmatched in every conceivable way. Yet, surrender was not an option. To submit meant the end of humanity as they knew it. It wasn't just their military power the Council demanded, it was their very freedom. The Earth's leaders understood this clearly. There would be no life under the Council's rule, only subjugation. In that war room, the decision was unanimous. Earth would fight. There was no speech to rally the masses, no grand declaration to the world. Humanity's response was quiet, resolved, a steely determination spreading through the ranks of those who had been entrusted with the planet's defense. Military commands were issued, missile silos were readied, and fleets were mobilized. In underground labs and high-tech factories, engineers worked tirelessly to prepare humanity's last line of defense. Humanity had no illusions about the challenge ahead. They knew the odds were slim. But they also knew one other thing: they were not going down without a fight. Across the globe, key military units began to mobilize. Soldiers were briefed on their roles, pilots climbed into the cockpits of fighter jets, and submarines submerged into the deep ocean, awaiting their orders. Satellites adjusted their trajectories, tracking the alien fleet above, while missile platforms primed themselves for what would be Earth's first, and perhaps last, strike. This wasn't just a defense. It was a statement. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or technology, but in their refusal to yield. They had faced extinction before, in the form of plagues, natural disasters, and wars. Each time, they had survived through innovation, through sheer will. This was no different. Facing the Council's ultimatum, humanity's spirit only hardened. They had been underestimated before, and they would prove their worth once again. As Earth prepared for war, the Galactic Council watched, confident in their inevitable victory. To them, Earth's defiance was little more than the last gasp of a doomed species. But for humanity, it was the beginning of something much more. They had chosen to stand, and whatever came next, they would meet it head-on, with everything they had. The clock was ticking, but Earth's response was clear. Surrender was not in their vocabulary. They would fight, because that's what humanity did best. The moment Earth made its decision, the entire planet shifted into motion. Factories that once produced everyday goods were quickly repurposed to churn out missiles, drones, and cutting-edge defense systems. Assembly lines worked around the clock. Engineers raced against time, refining new technologies, pushing the boundaries of what human ingenuity could achieve. Missile silos across the globe were opened, their doors sliding back to reveal weapons designed not just to defend Earth, but to strike fear into any who threatened it. In the depths of the ocean, submarines surfaced, their sleek bodies barely breaking the water's surface as they positioned themselves for launch. High above, space defense platforms were activated, their targeting systems aligning with the massive alien fleet that hovered ominously in orbit. Everyone knew what was coming. There was no room for hesitation, no space for doubt. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike shared a singular purpose: survival. Amid this preparation, Earth's real strength lay in the innovation of its people. Humanity had always been a species that thrived under pressure, and now they had created experimental technologies that would be their ace in the hole. These were no ordinary missiles they were readying for launch. Some were equipped with advanced AI, capable of adapting mid-flight to avoid detection and interception. Others harnessed energy-based weaponry that had only been theoretical a decade ago. There were whispers of orbital platforms designed to channel solar energy into concentrated blasts. Every last invention was pushed to its limit, each designed to counter a fleet humanity should have no chance of defeating. The atmosphere across the planet was tense, but united. It wasn't fear that gripped humanity, it was resolve. The coming fight was unavoidable, but no one doubted their course. This was a battle for survival, not just of a species, but of a way of life. Every scientist tweaking a missile system, every soldier readying for battle, understood the gravity of the moment. The entire planet was on the brink, staring up at the alien fleet that had come to enforce their surrender. And then, the Galactic Council's fleet arrived. Their ships emerged from the far edges of the solar system like predators moving in for the kill. Each vessel was colossal, dwarfing even the largest structures humanity had ever built. Shielded by impenetrable force fields, they radiated an eerie blue glow, their massive energy weapons bristling with destructive potential. As the alien fleet moved closer, its sheer size became undeniable. Earth's defenses seemed minuscule in comparison, but size wasn't everything. The Council's arrogance was palpable. They had faced countless species over the millennia, and none had posed a serious threat to their dominance. Earth, with its seemingly crude technology, was just another minor obstacle. The alien generals, nestled safely within their command ships, barely spared a thought for the humans. This wasn't a battle in their minds, just a formality. They believed Earth's resistance would crumble the moment they began their assault. The Council had seen it happen countless times before. Earth, to them, was no different. But they were wrong. Even as the alien warships positioned themselves in orbit, preparing to unleash their overwhelming firepower, Earth remained silent. There were no pleas for mercy, no signs of submission. Humanity was waiting, watching, with a strategy of its own. They knew the first move would be critical. And when it came, it would be on their terms. Then, without warning, Earth struck. Missiles erupted from hidden silos across the planet's surface. From the depths of the ocean, submarines launched payloads that pierced the skies, and from orbit, defense platforms unleashed volleys of high-speed projectiles. The initial salvo wasn't a desperate attempt to fend off an invasion, it was a calculated strike, precise and unrelenting. These missiles were no ordinary warheads. Each was equipped with the most advanced AI humanity had ever developed, designed to adapt and outthink the alien fleet's defenses. The missiles streaked through the atmosphere, tearing into the vacuum of space with impossible speed. The Galactic Council's warships scrambled to defend themselves, activating energy shields and deploying interceptors. Alien commanders issued rapid orders, confident their superior technology would handle this minor inconvenience. And yet, as the first missiles reached their targets, something happened that the Council hadn't expected. Some of the missiles were intercepted, obliterated by the fleet's defensive systems, but not all of them. The AI guiding the attack adapted in real time, adjusting flight patterns, redirecting at the last second, exploiting the smallest gaps in the alien ship's defenses. The alien shields, thought to be impenetrable, faltered under the sheer volume and precision of the human attack. Explosions rippled through space as several of the massive alien warships were hit, their sleek hulls torn apart by Earth's defiant barrage. On Earth, the watching world held its breath. They hadn't expected to win this fight, not in the traditional sense, but the sight of alien ships taking damage, of warships falling from orbit in flames, ignited a hope they hadn't dared to feel. Humanity's first strike had been audacious, and it was working. Up in the alien fleet, panic spread. The Council hadn't anticipated this level of resistance. They had prepared for a swift, overwhelming victory, not for a well-coordinated counterattack from a species they had deemed primitive. The damage was real. Warships that had never seen defeat were now disabled, their wreckage falling into the atmosphere in burning streaks. Earth had struck, and the Council had no choice but to acknowledge that this would not be the easy conquest they had expected. Humanity had made their message clear. They were outgunned, outmatched in almost every way. But surrender? That was never an option. The Galactic Council had underestimated Earth, and now they paid the price. Several of their ships lay in ruin, their sleek forms still smoldering in orbit. But their retaliation was swift. Alien generals, shocked by the audacity of humanity's attack, quickly regrouped, their pride wounded. Some demanded an overwhelming counterstrike, intent on reducing Earth to ash. The Council had no patience for drawn-out conflicts, especially with a species they saw as beneath them. Earth had to be made an example. The alien fleet organized, and within moments, the skies lit up. Beams of pure energy, far more advanced than anything Earth could produce, rained down from orbit. Alongside them, countless drones, precise and deadly, swarmed toward Earth's surface. These machines were programmed for nothing less than total annihilation. Their target, Earth's missile platforms, space defenses, and military installations. Despite being outclassed, humanity wasn't caught off guard. Fighters scrambled from makeshift runways, joining fleets of drones and hastily retrofitted space platforms. The air was thick with tension as human pilots engaged in dogfights against the swarming alien drones. Each one knew they were outgunned, but none turned back. Ground forces mobilized, rushing to protect the few remaining key installations. In cities worldwide, people huddled in shelters, watching with bated breath as the battle unfolded above them. Every explosion in the sky, every flash of light could have been the end of their world, but still, Earth's forces fought on. In orbit, human drones and fighter jets stood no real chance against the alien fleet. Alien energy beams sliced through their ranks, and ships exploded in fiery bursts, leaving trails of debris. But humanity held firm, forcing the alien fleet to fight for every inch. Earth's defenses, battered and barely holding, were pushed to their limits. It was clear that humanity couldn't sustain this fight for long. The aliens' superior technology and firepower were gradually overwhelming Earth's defenses. As the alien fleet pressed its advantage, the situation grew desperate. Humanity had one last move to play. Buried deep underground, in secret facilities that had been working around the clock, Earth's brightest minds had been developing a last-ditch weapon, a gamble, but one that just might turn the tide. It wasn't about brute force, because they knew they couldn't win that way. It was about ingenuity, about doing what no one expected. The plan, an EMP-based weapon, designed to disrupt the alien fleet's systems, even if only for a moment. That moment would be all they needed. The order was given, and the weapon was deployed. From a hidden installation in the mountains, a pulse surged skyward, invisible but powerful. As it reached the alien fleet, the results were immediate. Systems flickered, drones dropped from the sky, and for the first time, the alien warship's shields flickered and failed. Their advanced technology, so far beyond Earth's, was useless for a precious few minutes. And that was all the time humanity needed. Seizing the opportunity, Earth's forces launched a final, desperate attack. Railguns on orbiting platforms fired at full capacity, sending hypervelocity projectiles straight into the heart of the disabled alien ships. AI-guided drones swarmed the now vulnerable vessels, targeting engines, weapon arrays, anything that could cripple the ships permanently. Even experimental energy weapons, still in their infancy, were deployed. The alien fleet, once untouchable, was now bleeding. The damage was severe. Several of the alien warships, once pristine and majestic, now floated dead in orbit, their hulls cracked and leaking debris. For the first time, the Galactic Council was forced to consider retreat. They had expected to crush Earth with ease, but now their losses were mounting, and the humans showed no sign of giving in. Alien commanders, once so sure of their superiority, were faced with an uncomfortable truth: this fight could not be won, at least not today. The order was given. The alien fleet, battered and bruised, began to pull back. It wasn't a full retreat. This was not the end of the war. But for now, the Council needed to regroup, to reassess their approach to this defiant little planet that had refused to bend the knee. From the surface of Earth, humanity watched in disbelief as the massive alien ships slowly drifted out of orbit. The sense of victory was palpable, but no one dared celebrate just yet. The battle was over, but the war had only begun. As the alien fleet retreated, a final transmission was sent to Earth. It wasn't a threat, not anymore. The Galactic Council acknowledged Earth's strength, its refusal to bow, and its unexpected resilience. In their cold, distant way, they admitted that humanity had earned their respect, if not their fear. They promised that this wasn't the last Earth would see of them. The Council would return, but now they understood that humanity was not to be taken lightly. On Earth, a quiet sense of triumph spread. They had survived. Against impossible odds, they had stood their ground. The alien fleet had been driven back not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through sheer human will, creativity, and determination. This wasn't just a victory, it was a message to the galaxy. Humanity was united. They were ready for whatever came next. They had stared down a galactic superpower and forced them to retreat. And as the stars settled back into their usual calm, one thing was clear: Earth would never bow to anyone, no matter how great the threat. This was their home, their planet, and they would fight for it until the end. Let the galaxy take notice. Humanity was here to stay.